Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on early and attending this masterclass. We just want to say a couple of messages. First of all, to say thank you for all of you who registered early. For those of you that did so, we really appreciate that. Secondly, we want to say thank you for your warm messages to the entire team. We really appreciate it. You know, everyone on the team, our volunteers, and the Shift community whose ethos is for the betterment of the whole, with the leadership of Amyn Dahya. So over to you. Thank you.
I hope you've all been using your scissors of light. And I'm sure that you have been enjoying the experience and beginning to feel some degree of freedom. So that, I think, is very, very important. In fact, a friend of mine sent me a message saying, and I haven't spoken to her in quite a while, and she said, now I know what you've done. You've cut me off with your scissors. And of course, I laughed and said, well, that's not the point. The scissors are not to cut people off. The scissors are to cut yourself off from the emotions that present themselves in your meditation when they are not welcome. Emotions, thoughts, anything that breaks your focus, or when you're in a compartment trying to focus, you can cut that memory, that thought, those emotions, so that it allows you to focus fully on the compartment you're in. Now, let's today, before we get going, I do get a lot of questions about the rituals of meditation. So I'd like to address that for the benefit of everyone here. Many people say, well, you know, is there a particular way of sitting? Is there a particular posture? Is there a particular way I should breathe? Where do I look when I'm meditating? Where do I place my hands? These are all good logical questions. Now, there are many schools of thought. There are many teachers who may prescribe different ways of practicing. My experience, and this is purely my experience, but hopefully you may find it beneficial. But when you look at rituals, rituals are important in our life because they teach us. If you compare rituals to the process of learning to dance, rituals are where you learn to move your left foot forward, your right foot backwards, you sway your hips, you move. The ritual teaches you the steps of the dance. So they are necessary. But then, when the pupil has learned enough, and when the pupil has learned to dance, then you've got to now start to flow with the music. And as you flow with the music, you have, at that same time, you have to let go of remembering, am I moving my left foot forward, my right foot? Because the minute you do that, you've lost the flow with the music. So a good ritual is one which is self-diminishing. It brings the pupil to the level where he or she flows with the music and then just goes. And that dance is absolutely spectacular. When you're in meditation, you're flowing with the music. You're flowing in freedom. Yes, you've learned the steps, but at some point you have to set all those aside and go towards your destination. So rituals, in any aspect of life, they help teach you the steps of the dance. But a good ritual is one which diminishes itself when the pupil is ready to flow with the music. Now, in the last 3 classes, I have shared the concept of the levels of the mind, levels of meditation. The first level is stillness, which I think we have gone into in a fair bit of detail together. The second is clarity and detachment, which we've also covered in detail up to the last class. Today, we're going to talk about the level of oneness. And this is where your material mind and your spiritual being unite. And this is the highest level of your intellect. And so today's lesson, today's masterclass is going to focus very much on oneness, the power of oneness, and how we work with oneness 24 hours a day. And then after oneness, the next we will learn about, and which I've shared, but not in that level of detail, which I will in the next class, is linkage. Now, linkage is once you cross the level of oneness, you become still. You've detached from the past, you've detached from the future, you've detached from the world. You are now in the pure present, and then you are engaged with oneness. Then after that, you flow into linkage. Linkage is a word that you connect, that connects you to your creator, to your source. And as I've explained before, this word can be practiced from a religious point of view or a non-religious point of view. And if it's from a religious point of view, you have to think of the word that you truly believe deep down is the name of your creator, is the name of your source. So if it is, I'll give you examples, it can be God, it can be Allah, it can be Christ, it can be Father, Ram, Krishna, Om. There's so many names. Whatever you believe, the important fact is that you must believe in that word, because it's the energy of that word in linkage that takes you to that which you are seeking. If you do it from a non-religious point of view, then you could practice with the word origin, source, universe, nature, whatever that name that you allocate or you ascribe to your source, focus on that word. So linkage we will cover more in detail in the next class, but in today's meditation, the second meditation, you will have a small period of time to practice linkage. Today's meditation is actually going to be different to the ones we have done in classes 1, 2, and 3, the main meditation. So this is what we have studied. And also, we have learned some very specific techniques. For example, we've learned the technique of going still. We've learned the technique of the anchor thought and how to anchor our state of being in a particular thought, be it peace, be it love, abundance, hope, whatever that anchor is that you wish to establish your state of being. We learned about the importance of living in compartments and following and focusing 100% on each compartment and then moving on to the next one so that we are constantly living in the present. And we've also learned to use our scissors on how to cut the threads of thoughts that don't belong in a compartment or that don't belong within your state of being at that point. And then we also learned about detachment, which is letting go of the world, the past, and the future. And we learned about letting go of fear. So these are the techniques we have generally covered in the master classes to date. Now, what do all these techniques do? They anchor us into the present, completely into the present, which is the right time to be able to focus on moving higher in meditation. Now, how powerful is the present? And in one of my books, I gave a very simple example. Let's look at the connection between the past, the present, and the future. So let's say that I'm going to pick up a glass, I'm going to fill it with water, and I'm going to drink it. So the past, at this point, says he hasn't done anything. The future says he's going to pick up the glass, he's going to fill it with water, and he's going to drink. Then I fill it with water. So the past says he picked up the glass and he filled it with water. And the future says he will drink it. But if in the present moment I decide, no, I pour the water out, I've changed the future. So your present is so powerful. This is a simple example, but whatever you think and whatever you do in the present governs everything. So the present is very powerful. And from a meditation point of view, we have to be fully anchored in the present. So everything I've shared with you in the last 3 classes has been to bring you in the pure present. And this will help us in today's class. Now, before we go into the main class today, I had promised many of you that I was going to teach you a technique of decision making and drawing inspiration to help you in your day-to-day decision making. Now, when you think about your decisions, where do they come from? When you have to make a decision, you will consult the past, your wisdom of the past, you will consult whatever the options are on the table, you will think about the future implications, you will process all the pros and cons. But then when it comes to making a major decision, where does that decision actually come from? Does it come from the mind? Where does it come from? And so ultimately, it's that thought that triggers in you that says, I will do this. And it may be based on all the considerations you have made. Sometimes you make that decision without considering everything, and then you deal with the consequences going forward. So what I'd like to do is to share with you a technique where while you consult the wisdom of the past, while you consult the wisdom of the future, of all the various permutations that may arise, you should also have a third level of consultation, which is with your higher self. And when you consult at that level, you're drawing inspired counsel, inspired wisdom, and then you make your decision. So you're in a much more solid and more powerful position when you make those decisions where you go within and consult your higher self. So I'm going to teach you a short meditation. So I'd like you all to sit back, close your eyes, and relax, and breathe freely. Let go of all your stresses and tensions and just go completely calm. Breathe freely and be completely relaxed. Totally relaxed. And I'd like you to imagine you sitting all by yourself in a small, dark room. It's very dark, you're all alone, and you're sitting all by yourself. Take a moment and just look around the room. It's just you and nothing else. And then in front of you, there's a window which opens. And as it opens, slowly it begins to let in a bright, warm, loving light. And when the window is wide open, the room is completely filled with this bright, warm, loving light. This is the light of creation, the light of hope, the light of peace, the light of love. And this light is flowing through your being, reaching every cell in your being. The whole room is now completely filled with light. Take a moment and look at this light and keep repeating the words, light, light, light. This is a bright, warm, loving light that is reaching every corner of your being, blessing every corner of your being, healing every corner of your being. Light, light, light. And as you look into the light, in front of you, you now see a pearl, a beautiful, shining white pearl in the light. And this pearl is coming towards you slowly. Take a look at this pearl. It comes closer and closer to you. It's beautiful. It's white. It shines brilliantly. It has come from the light. And then it reaches the center of your forehead and merges with you. And now as you look into the center of your forehead, you see that pearl. Beautiful, shiny, white pearl, illuminating your whole being. Look at the pearl and keep repeating light, light, light. This pearl is your linkage, your connection to your higher self. This pearl is yours to keep forever. Keep looking at this pearl and keep repeating light, light, light. And from today, when you have a major decision to make, you go through the pros and cons with your mind, with your intellect. You consult the lessons of the past. You get counsel from all the wise people around you. You think of implications of the future. And then, when you've done all that, you sit quietly with your eyes closed and you look at this pearl. For this pearl is your connection with your higher self. It's a symbol of your higher self. And then you ask the pearl the question, what must my decision be? Because you as a being have given that decision all the thought and all the wisdom that you can. But now you're relegating that question to a higher level. You're placing it into the hands of the pearl. And once you've done that, you don't think about the subject anymore. Go on with your normal life, read a book, do whatever. But after you've completely disengaged from that decision, a while later, it could be a few hours later, you sit down, you close your eyes, and you think of the pearl, and you keep repeating light, 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 until you see this beautiful shining pearl. And you do that nice and slow, you take your time. And then you ask, what must my decision be? And the very first thought that comes to your mind is the counsel, is the wisdom from your higher self. The very first thought. It may not be what you want to hear. It may not be what you were expecting. But that is the counsel from your higher self. So now you have the benefit of all your material level thinking, and you have the counsel from your higher self. And then you decide what you're going to do. But now you have been receiving wisdom and counsel from the highest level of your being. So the pearl is your best friend. Ask for counsel. Ask for counsel from your higher self, and then make your decision. So keep looking at this pearl and keep repeating light, light, light. This is a symbol of your connection to your higher self. But in essence, you are asking your higher self for counsel with complete humility. And remember, it's the first thought that comes to you, is advice from that level. And you can choose what you wish to do. You may now open your eyes. So this is a very useful method of making wise decisions. Now, many people have practiced this technique, which I've shared before. But the problem is, if the first thought is what you don't like to hear, then most people go, oh, I need to consult the pearl again. Oh, I must do it again. No, you cannot keep going back to it and then try with your mind to change anything. This is purely independent counsel that has come ungoverned from your mind or anything. It's that first pure thought. Now you may choose not to follow that. That's okay. You've had the benefit of that guidance. You may choose to follow it. You're also then utilizing a very important piece of guidance. So it's not a hard and fast rule, but it's a technique that adds one more layer to your decision making. And that is the layer of your higher self. You submit yourself to your higher level and ask for counsel. Because we always make decisions in our lives on our own. It's a tough place to be. Let's also get help from a different level. So I thought I'd like to share this technique with you, practice it. Now, after today, you don't need to go into the dark room and see the pearl come at you again. No, it's there. You've seen it. And that's all you need, is to close your eyes and think of it. And it's there. And what it's doing, in essence, is opening the door to you asking the question to your higher self. Your higher self knows what is best. And then you either follow the counsel or not, but at least you've had the benefit of it. So now let's come to the subject of today, which is extremely, extremely important. And it is the level of oneness. Because this is the foundation of our spiritual search. Now, let's think about what is oneness. And if you look at a lot of the great scriptures, they all talk about us having been created from one soul. That humanity, nature, everything is created from one soul. That we are all one. With things that we see and things that we don't. We are all part of a oneness. And so a statement which I wrote in one of my earlier books, which says, I am you, you are me, together we are everything, we are oneness. So in my journey of learning, at one point I realized that the only thing that separates us from each other is our physical being. Otherwise, we are all completely one. Now, having said that, and considering that there is literally no difference between each one of us, then we also begin to realize the genesis of things like the Ten Commandments. Because if I am you and you are me, if I hurt you, I'm hurting myself. A lot of our ethics, a lot of the learnings at our various schools of thought, religions, cultures, traditions, have taught us arise from this concept of oneness. This is why you should live a certain way, you should be fair. This is why you should not hurt people knowingly. It all comes from the fact that you and I are one. And together we are everything because we are part of nature. We are a piece within nature. We are that dot in this beautiful painting of life. And together we are everything, and therefore we are oneness. Now, some time back I did a workshop in the UK on oneness. And I'll just share very quickly with you some of the core experiences from there. Now, as I said earlier, that our thought has life. So when we think, we are giving birth to seeds. Our thought is like a seed. And these seeds flow and they germinate in the hearts and minds of people near us, far away. They germinate in nature. They then result in new thoughts. They then result in new events. And these new events ultimately, via a circle, come back to us. But thought has energy. Thought has life. And we can all sense the energy of the people we are with. Sometimes you come in the presence of someone and you feel so good and you just don't want to leave. And sometimes you could be sitting at a desk and someone walks in and you just feel like someone stuck a dagger in you. And it's just that energy that people build around themselves that we sense. And sometimes we think, oh, it's just our emotion, but it's actually picking up energy. Now, when we think of oneness, and if you, in your mind, understand that you are one with everybody around you, then you start repeating in your mind, I am oneness. And when you see the person in front of you, you're repeating in your mind, we are oneness. We are oneness. And what you're doing is you're anchoring that thought of oneness in that present moment. You're anchoring your state of being. If your state of being is peaceful, you're anchoring peace in that space. If it's for abundance, you're anchoring abundance. If it's cooperation, you're anchoring cooperation, unity, whatever it is, but you're creating a very positive space around you. And as you repeat, I am oneness, I am oneness. And when you're in the presence of people, you know, whether it's a meeting, whether it's work, whether it's your family, whether it's your loved ones, and you go into we are oneness, they begin to sense this energy, because when they step into that field, they're going to feel your peace. They're going to feel non-threatened. It's a very beautiful environment to create around you when you go into the state of I am oneness. We are oneness. Now, we learned this in a workshop which I gave in the UK. And there was one of the ladies present shared her experience with me after. She wrote to us after the event, and she was working in a school. And she was having a lot of conflict with others around her who I think felt threatened by her. And you know, in every workplace there's politics. People try to pull one down, move ahead. People feel threatened with each other's skills. And she, after learning this technique, went to work, and every time she was in the presence of the people who felt very threatened by her or who were very difficult with her, she would go into this state of I am oneness. I am oneness. I am oneness. We are oneness. We are oneness. And she would bring them into her tranquil space, her peaceful place, her honest space. Therefore, they were not threatened. And as she practiced this more and more and more, her situation at work changed. The people who felt threatened by her no longer felt threatened by her. Her difficult situations began to resolve themselves. Because at the end of the day, if people are at peace with you, no one's going to try and hurt you. If people misunderstand you or are angry with you, but they come into a space where they know you're genuine and you mean well, they sense that. They work with you. Because remember, the only things that separate us from each other is our physical bodies, and it is the quality of our thoughts. Deep down, as spiritual beings, we are one. Every being is pure, bright, warm, loving light. So what differentiates us from each other is the quality of our thoughts. Some who live totally in the lower level mind, the quality of the thoughts that they come up with define their actions. But when they come in your space, that spiritual being begins to sense you, and it begins to interact lower down with that person's mind, putting them at rest, putting them at peace, and they cooperate with you. Another person who attended lives in Spain, and he said to me that he had a meeting with his bank manager because he was in a very tough spot and times were tough. But before he went in for the meeting, he put himself in that state of oneness. When he sat with the guy and he kept repeating, his thought of I am oneness, I am oneness, we are oneness. He found that his meetings began to go very smoothly and solutions came up. So the resistance, because most people, because of the way we have lived and the amount we've been hurt, we have barriers. And so we get insecure. But when you create that space that melts those barriers, people work with you. Because after all, we are one soul. And so there are many, many examples. I mean, I first encountered it one time when Karima and I were traveling, and we were at Vancouver Airport. And they had changed our flight routing, but our ticket was such that it was no longer valid. And the lady at the counter, I think, must have woken up on the wrong side of the bed that day because she was very angry. And I think maybe people had been very abusive to her. So when we got to her, she was totally non-cooperative. She did not want to do anything for us. It was basically go buy another ticket and find your way. And yet we had to then connect to Asia from the States. So at that point, I got into this thought of oneness. And I was creating that environment of love, oneness, and peace. And because that environment was pure and genuine, a few moments later, our facial expression changed. We were very polite, very friendly because, and those people have tough jobs and all they take is abuse. But she sensed that peace. And suddenly she started working with us, and she helped us, even bent a few rules to enable us to be able to reschedule and not lose our tickets. And we made our flight, and both of us looked at each other, and Karima asked me, what happened? And I said, well, I was just thinking of her and me as being one, and we experience oneness with each other. And so it works, and try it, and use it. And use it consciously, because you will create an environment that's very conducive around you and within you. And then, even in that workshop, I said to people, go to a garden, stand in front of a plant, and keep thinking, I am oneness, I am oneness, I am oneness. We are oneness, we are oneness. As you think, and you focus on that plant or tree or flower, you will begin to sense something very beautiful. You will begin to sense the life energy of that plant, that flower, that tree. It may be an inanimate object, but the life energy, the light that flows through it is the same that is you. And some people may look at you and go, my goodness, you've lost your mind. And I would say, no, you've just found your mind. So we are all integrally connected with nature. And now, when we think about it, let's look at oneness from an even deeper perspective. Let's look at how we make oneness a conscious state of being. Many scriptures say that God or the Creator or the Source, that we live in the being of the Creator. Well, what does that mean? We live in the being of our Creator. What it means is that life energy, this infinite intelligence of our Creator, is present everywhere. In every plant, every tree, every person, every object, inanimate, animate, and everything we don't see. That infinite intelligence, that energy of our Creator is present in everything. And we are living within that energy, within that intelligence. And so therefore we are living within the being of our Creator. Now I experienced a glimpse of this, which I'll share with you as much as I can share. And it was that I was at Dubai airport, and I was on in that golf club car. They were taking me to my gate, and the airport is very big, and I wasn't feeling well, so I took the benefit of the ride. And as we were going towards my gate, suddenly something happened, and I began to feel and see life everywhere. This wasn't anymore a big building with people and things moving around. This place was full of life. And I remember as we drove past a lady sitting, she was a lovely lady, and behind her face, her facial features, there was a glow. There was pure life. There was me. I was seeing myself. And my reality came completely alive. Everybody I saw my source there. I saw pure life. And I was overcome with emotion, so overcome that I just cried. And tears just kept flowing from my eyes. And these were tears of joy. These were not tears of any form of grief. It was just that I was recognizing my place in the oneness. I was recognizing life around me. I was seeing that life, that creator, my source, in everybody. And I even remember that, after I was composed and we got on the plane, a little while later, there's an air hostess who came to serve me. And so she sort of bent over to put stuff on my tray. And then again, I saw life in her. And I said, oh my God, you're serving me? I should be serving you. That realization was so beautiful. That is living in the being of our Creator. And we can all achieve that point if we make oneness a constant state of being. And in that whole experience, I realized that my search for the Creator was not restricted only to my hours of meditation. My search was continuous, 24 hours a day, wherever I was. Everything I saw, everything I see now, I'm always seeking my Creator. And living in that state of oneness, you begin to realize that actually this is an amazing world that we are living in. Make oneness a conscious state of being. And oneness is a key in spiritual search because it builds an understanding on where you are as a soul in creation. And how what you're searching for is within and around you. You're living in that beautiful, loving intelligence. You're living in that being. That's what you are seeking. You are that fish that's swimming in the ocean, and yet it's water that you seek. It's there. You are in it. You are it. And so, when we start living with this conscious awareness of the oneness, we begin to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. The extraordinary is always present in the ordinary. And know that your spiritual search is not restricted only to meditation. Your search is also a conscious search 24 hours a day as we live in this world. And so keep engaging with oneness in your fully conscious state, and you will begin to understand what I'm saying. Now, if, like one great soul said, wherever I look, I see the Spirit as my friend. What he meant was life energy, this infinite intelligence, my source. I see it everywhere. It's my friend. And so now many people say, what is my purpose of life? I would say, recognizing oneness all around and within you is one of the core purposes of life. That is why we took birth in this beautiful world. Think about it. Why is our world created the way it is? Nature, trees, creatures, all filled with life, ranges of events, things happening around us, and you and I and all of us are placed in the middle of it. What are we supposed to discover? Why are we in this place? What are we supposed to discover? We're supposed to discover the presence of our source in everything. It's staring us right in the face. Maybe up to today we haven't seen it, but after today, if we try hard enough, we all will be able to catch glimpses. And these are beautiful glimpses, and our conscious awareness of the oneness is just going to transform our lives, because recognizing this is one of the core purposes of life. This is how you live with a balance of the material and spiritual. It's not that you run away from the material. When you are in the material, you are living the spiritual. When you are in meditation, you are living the spiritual. But in the material, while we get so engrossed with everything, don't lose sight of the fact that your source is present in everything. And as you engage to I am oneness, we are oneness, you'll begin to feel this. And so 24 hours a day becomes conscious living. And this is one of the core purposes of life. And now that we recognize how important and how tightly we are connected with nature, now the environment makes sense. Caring for your environment, because it's you. What you discharge into the environment is like you discharge when you throw sewage in water. In the environment, it's no different to throwing it in your living room, because you and your environment are one. This is the understanding that oneness brings to us. Now, I will share with you a meditative technique today, the last meditation we will do, on how you can help anchor your realization in your mind, and in your soul of the oneness. And from today, then, every moment of your life is a spiritual search. And there's no conflict between your material life and your spiritual life, because they're completely one. You are seeking oneness at every moment. Now, we start by living with oneness at a material level. And then, as we live with oneness at a material level, we begin to engage. We recognize the presence of our Creator everywhere, and which will make it so much easier in your meditation. Now, while we are examining the purpose of life from the perspective of oneness, let me share one more very important point with you before we go into the meditation. One of the dedications in my books says, the origin or the source of our life is light. Light brings life. Life brings experience. Experience brings knowledge, and knowledge is light. And this is the cycle of life. The origin is light. Light brings life. Life brings experience. Experience brings knowledge, and knowledge is light. This is our purpose of life. When you start life, you are like the ray of the sun, because you're not as bright as your source, so you can tell the ray apart from its source. But as you gain more and more and more light, and the ray becomes brighter and brighter, at some point you will not be able to tell it apart from its source, and that is when its journey is complete. So this is the purpose of our lives. Origin is light, light brings life, life brings experience, experience brings knowledge, and knowledge is light. Now let's analyze this a little further. So we ask ourselves, what is experience? Experience is encounters with people, places, events, things that transpire. That's all experience. What are we seeking from these experiences? We are seeking to recognize our place in the oneness. We are seeking to see our Creator everywhere. That is true knowledge. And of course, that knowledge is light. Now let's look at what is knowledge in this context. How do we understand why knowledge is light? Why is knowledge light? When you eat a meal that you love and you feel so good, there's a gratitude that comes from deep within you to your Creator where you say, thank you for this. That is knowledge. That is light. When you look at the marvels of nature and you are in awe of just the amazing, magnificent art around you, and you're in awe of its creator, that is knowledge. That is light. When you experience true love of all types, parental, relationships, friendships, that experience which invokes something in you, that is knowledge. That is light. When someone helps you in time of critical need, and you know that this help has come from your Creator, and you are grateful, you recognize its source of this help, that is knowledge. That is light. When you experience inner happiness from your interests, arts, passions, and you know it's a blessing from your Creator, that is knowledge. That is light. When you engage in deep intellectual inquiry in science, medicine, or philosophy, for example, which leads you to the conclusion that there is a greater intelligence beyond us, that is knowledge. That is light. Even when you study the human body, you keep, the world specialists will all go to that one point and beyond which they do not have the next answer, and they know it is something well beyond us. That is knowledge. That is light. Therefore, intellectual inquiry is a key journey to true knowledge, to true light, because it leads you to that conclusion. Whether it's religious or non-religious, you're arriving at that same conclusion. That is knowledge. That is light. So experiences lead you to recognize the extraordinary in everything. And the reflection or awareness of those experiences that tell you that it is a blessing from your Creator converts the experience to knowledge, and that is light. So everyone brings us the gift of experience. And instead of a simple, shallow level of emotional exchange, let us seek to see the light in each other. Now you may realize what Namaste really means. It means the God in me bows to the God in you. And if you can see that, you are knowledge itself and you are light. So from today, we're going to start living with that awareness, with that oneness. And I pray that we will get this realization, all of us, because when you live with the conscious awareness of the oneness, you take one step towards the source takes 1,000,000 steps towards you. You are absolutely in the right direction. You are absolutely living the balance of material and spiritual, because there's nothing to balance. It's all one. It's all one search. And in that search, we live our lives in a highly enriched way. We enjoy all the blessings of this material world. We have a good time, but we're constantly recognizing that we live within the being of our source, and we are oneness. And when we sit to meditate and we've done our part in our material life, and remember also our ethics, the way we live, the way we think, all these things impact how much we recognize the oneness during our conscious time. If we live with all those values, you will see life everywhere. You will see life with you all the time. And your existence in this world is going to be a blessed existence. Every footstep you take is a blessed footstep. And this is my prayer for you. So now let's do the meditation. It is a short meditation, but what we're going to do is we're going to see through this meditation how we are able to engage with oneness. And it's very, very important. So I'd like you to sit back, Close your eyes, relax, and breathe freely. Be completely relaxed and breathe freely. I'd like you to imagine that you're standing in front of this beautiful lake where you've been before. Beautiful lake, blue sky. The sun is shining and bouncing off the water. There's mountains in the distance with snow caps. It's a beautiful, tranquil day. And you step into this lake and you keep walking until the water reaches your knees. And as you look down at the water, there are small ripples, there are small waves. You would like to see the reflection of your face in this water, but you can't. And so as you look at the water, you keep repeating, stillness, stillness, stillness. Keep looking at the water and repeating, stillness, stillness, stillness. And the water is going still now, and it's completely beginning to slow down until we are in complete stillness. And as you look at the water, it's now like a mirror, completely still, and you can see your reflection in it. Stillness, stillness, stillness. And then you continue to walk in the lake. And you keep walking as the water gets deeper until it reaches your shoulders. And now all you can see is the beautiful rays of the sun bouncing off the water, the sparkles everywhere. All you can see is light, nothing but light. And you keep repeating light, light, light. And there's nothing but light around you. You are in the light. You're immersed in light. Light, light. You're immersed in this water of life. You're immersed in light, 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 light. And you are completely immersed in this beautiful water of life. And you repeat within yourself, I am the water of life. I am life, life, life. I am the water of life. I am life, 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 life. You are the droplet. You are the cloud. You are the rain. You are the water that causes the seed to germinate. You are life, life, life. You are the lake. You are the river. You are the ocean. You are everything, and everything is you. You are life, pure, beautiful, eternal life, life, life. Keep repeating in your mind, life, life, life. I am the life that flows through all beings and all creatures. I am life, life, life. I am the life of the seedling. I am the life that flows through the plants, trees, forests. I am life, life, life. I am the life that flows through nature, through the skies, through the universes, through the stars. I am life, life, life. I am one with all creation. I am one with all universes. I am one with all that I see and all that I don't. I am oneness, oneness, oneness. Keep repeating in your mind, oneness, 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 oneness. Oneness, oneness. And now it is time to move to the linkage where you are oneness. And there's everything around you is just light, light, light. Light all around you, light within your being, light, light, light. And take a few moments and repeat the word that you have chosen for your Creator in nice, slow rhythm. I will use origin, you will use the word you have chosen. Origin, origin, origin. And you carry on with the word you have chosen. For a few moments, focus on this word in complete stillness, in complete light, in oneness. Focus on the word. Oneness, oneness, oneness. Focus on the word for another minute. You may open your eyes whenever you're ready. So that was the meditation of oneness. And now, if you practice this meditation very regularly, when you go about your day-to-day life and you keep repeating in your mind, I am oneness, we are oneness, remember the lesson of this meditation, that you are the life energy. You are that intelligence that flows through all creation. You are that water of life. You are the life that makes the seed germinate. You are everything, and everything is you. And as you practice this meditation, that thought process will become more and more permanent, and it will help you, because in your conscious level mind, you will also begin to live oneness. And then you will truly be fulfilling a core purpose of your life. You will be living an enlightened life. So with that, I would like to conclude today. And remember, the more you practice, the more you engage with oneness, you will begin to see the Spirit as your friend. And you will be able to begin to gain true knowledge that is light. And today we have reflected on why knowledge is light. So the next time you reach that conclusion, that it is the grace of your Creator, that is knowledge, that is light. So I wish you all the very best. Stay safe, stay blessed. Next week we will have the class which will focus on linkage, where we're going to go in much greater depth. But during this week, if you put into action what we have shared today, the process of linkage is going to carry you with much greater ease. So please do put it into practice. And stay blessed, stay safe. Take care.